Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Eckmann of Gold Derby here with Jessica Lange, who's just received her latest Tony nomination for Mother Play. Congratulations, Jessica, on
Thank
this
you very much.
nomination. Uh,
Thank you.
Many of us thought maybe Long Day's Journey was going to be your last foray on Broadway here. So what was it
I
that
kind of
lured you
thought that
back to
too,
us?
actually. Um, well, I thought at least once I should try a brand new play. Because I've done productions in London and in New York of Streetcar, of Glass Menagerie, and Long Day's Journey and Tonight. And I love those plays, especially Long Day's Journey and Tonight. I think is just the greatest American play. But I thought, well, at least once I should try doing a play and doing a character that's never been seen before, never heard. And when this came up, it just seemed like the perfect opportunity, because when I first read I like Paula's work very much. When I read the play, I thought, yes, this would be something interesting to do, you know, following a woman through the course of her life over a 40-year period would be something really fascinating to investigate. And it has. I mean, it's been a wild ride. I mean, to open cold on Broadway after 3 weeks rehearsal, now that I look back on it, I think, what, were we nuts? I mean, this is just, whoa. But it's been a great experience. And a lot of that I credit to working with Jim Parsons and Celia Keenan-Bolger, because, it's like, there's something almost magical happens when we hit the stage, and suddenly we're this strange family kind of lost in time, and just their presence on stage always grounds me, and it's been a joy working with them.
Yeah. And of course, you're playing a woman who is based on Paula Vogel's actual mother. She's used her own life in this play. So because you're working with a living writer here, how does that change things for you? Are you trying to pick her brain on her mother all the time?
Well, no, I mean, the great thing I think about Paula is that, yes, she based this story and these three characters on family, and kind of told the story of what happens over this 40-year period. But she never imposed any kind of, it should be this way, or my mother would have never done it that way, or so she was there always if we needed to ask a question, but there was she did not put that kind of limitation on our work. At a certain point, she just kind of let it go, and as any actor does, you have to, find your way in your own personal emotional life through what's written on the page.
Right. She's quite a character, and she doesn't always make the best decisions
Oh,
in this play. Do you,
terrible mistakes.
when you have a character who does make terrible mistakes and these bad decisions, do you have to find a way to like them? What is your relationship with
Well,
that?
no, I think what you have to do is, for me anyhow, it was to be true to the moment and to what led up to that. And I think in some way, because the character of Phyllis, you know, taking into consideration, and she says it, it's hard for me the way I was raised. So that's like, that right there lays the groundwork for a lot of actions and decisions that she makes. And it's also the time, without giving too much away, when her son comes out, it's 1968. It's a very different social climate, political climate than it is now, for sure. And it's interesting because so many people have written to me or come up to me afterwards and said, you know, that was the same situation I had with my mother, or the same situation I had with my family, and you know, as hard as it is for me to understand that, I have to find a way to believe in it and make it truthful. I also think you know, I think we are always in danger of trying to make characters likable. And I certainly feel that I haven't compromised in that way of trying to make the audience, or trying to make her somehow acceptable or likable or understandable. She did what she did, and she made some terrible mistakes, and she paid the price for it. And that's not unusual in life.
Yeah. One of the ways we see her pay the price for it is in this, I think it's like 8 or 10 minutes of you
Well,
silent. Oh, wow. Sorry. Don't let me shave off minutes
believe
for you.
me, I've counted.
But you are, you know, it's depicting her having a very lonely
Yes.
dinner and time at home. And I talked to Jim Parsons, and he referred to it as a ballet.
Yeah.
What is
That
it
was
like
how
holding
it
that
is.
silence?
What?
What is it like holding that silence for that long?
Well, when I first read that scene, I mean, obviously I didn't know physically how long it would play out, but it was fascinating to me that it was such an in-depth kind of dive into what it means to be lonely. And again, we go back to decisions made, and this is the price that's paid. And how does a woman, how does anybody, you know, coming home to an empty house, an empty apartment, with the evening stretching out before her, how do you fill that time? And added into this is that she has some self-imposed timeline of when she can take her first drink. So there is, I don't know, it's fascinating to play, and so far it's worked. You know, the audience hasn't gotten up and left yet, but I also feel something very important about that is finding the physicality. You know, it's because we don't have dialogue, there's nobody else there. So to expose that kind of loneliness through, and it's not a big physicality, but small movements, and there's that one moment where in the play it's written, she sits for, we watch her longer than one is used to watching somebody, and that's, you know, she's gazing off into space and obviously flooded with, so every night there's like a different images that come to my mind, different memories, and I always look forward to that 12 minutes. It's also because I can finally stop talking and sit for a while.
Is it difficult at any time during the process of creating that? Was it difficult to trust in that? You know, were you like, oh, I'm doing too much?
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, certain things where I think, oh, could I, you know, what am I supposed to be doing here? What is, and then there's this whole section when she goes for her second drink, which is kind of this abstract movement. And what is that grounded in? You know, what provokes that? And a lot of it, I think, from beginning to end in that section, that segment, is really about trying to keep oneself engaged, entertained to a certain degree. You know, I think there's been a lot written about this, an epidemic of loneliness in this country. And this to me was a really great way to investigate that, and you know, draw on your own experience, what it's like to be alone, what it's like to be.
There's a similarity, I think, a parallel I found in your film, The Great Lillian Hall,
Oh, you
where
saw it.
I did. And
Oh,
for all of the amazing dialogue you get to deliver in both this film and in Mother Play, there's uh there's so much taken in with just your face, and that is
mhm.
wordless, whether she gets some bad news or what, something in her life is devastating. What does that do for you as an actress when you do have the words stripped away on film?
It's wonderful because you have to rely on expression and oftentimes I wonder on stage, on film, it's not a question because the camera comes right in and, you can, with the slightest movement of the eyes or whatever, you can, you can convey this inner life. But on stage, I wasn't so sure about it. But the great thing of working in the Hayes Theater is it's so small and so intimate that you can do that and it can read to the audience. But again, it's it's that whole investigation of a physical life, and whether it's through the expression in the face or movement or gesture, whatever it is, there it really is universal, I think, for this state of loneliness.
Mm. And you're keeping, the Broadway theme going with that movie too, because she's in a production of The Cherry Orchard.
Yes,
Was that
I
kind of
know.
like, was that like learning double duty, because you have to also learn Chekhov and the way
Yeah,
that
and it was
Lillian would learn
great
Chekhov?
because I'll probably never play Chekhov on stage. So this was my great opportunity, even if it was just, a scene here or a scene there. But we actually rehearsed the play with this wonderful group of actors, um, and rehearsed the play. And that was thrilling. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thrust of what she's dealing with, she's losing her ability to remember these lines. And there's just what, like in Mother Play, there's just three of you there. When something goes wrong for you on stage, what happens? What do you do to get yourself out of it? There's always something that happens wrong in theater.
Yeah. I find that um, if, for instance, I'm somewhat, and this happens every once in a while, where you're like, it's that voice inside your head or something is saying something that you, all I have to do is really connect to Celia and Jim, like really pay attention, really look at them, and it brings me right back into the scene. A lot of times I have to remind myself, at the beginning of the play, just stay inside the breath, stay inside the word. Don't, and for the most part, and then of course there are certain things like the music cue or the lighting cue or some sound cue goes haywire and you think, well, okay, so now what am I going to do? And you just some way find a way of, or you drop all the cards on the floor and have to like take a moment to like pick everything. But that too is what's so amazing about it, working on stage, because there's no out. You can't say, wait, cut, can I do this again? I screwed that up or whatever. You just find a way to keep going, and it's always, I don't know, I find it thrilling. I love being on stage.
What I think about when I think of this character in Mother Play, and Lillian in a way, they're women that are operating in the extremes of life in a
Yeah.
way, to the point where they're basically unraveling at some point.
Yes,
What does it feel like to live inside of that type of extreme as an actor?
I love it. I always have. Those have always been my favorite characters, whether it's Frances Farmer or the character from Blue Sky, or Edith Beale, you know Blanche Dubois. They're it's great because you have this wild kind of freedom, in the extremes. And that to me is always the most interesting to play. Women who are kind of teetering on the edge. And it allows you this great, again, I say freedom, of you're not constricted to some kind, it kind of blows the top off. And I find those parts really great to play.
Do you find
Verging on madness.
Yes, absolutely. Do you find you have to do a lot of thinking in those roles, or what is your preparation process
What I
like?
like about those roles is it's not so much thinking as it is just like this wild emotional life. And that to me is always more interesting than thinking.
Yeah. Well, this is you were previously with us again with Long Day's Journey and Tonight. You won the Tony Award for that one.
Yeah, that was
What was your favorite experience? You've certainly are no stranger to awards across the board, but what was your favorite part of the Tony Awards experience?
well, the community, which is very different than the Academy, the Oscars, or the Emmys, or what, because this is a much smaller community. And just, I mean, one of the problems I had this year is right before we started rehearsal, well, a couple months before rehearsal started, I had an accident and broke my knee. So I missed, because I was 2 months in a wheelchair, so I missed a great deal of theater going for the first time. There are performances that I didn't get a chance to see that are no longer there, which I really regret. There are plays that I didn't see. There are so now, and then starting rehearsal and going into previews so quickly, again, you couldn't catch up with anything. And one of the problems is some of the plays that I want to see close the same day we do. So it's like Uncle Vanya and Mary Jane. And so I'm not going to be able to see those actors or see that production, which is really too bad. But I think with the Tonys, it's just, it's a smaller community. And so you all feel connected in a way. I think that's one of the great things.
And you mentioned your closing date. We are sadly approaching that day rather quickly as the Tonys approach. What will you miss the most about Phyllis and about Mother Play?
Well, like I said, I mean, I love playing extremes, and the velocity of her emotional life is pretty stunning in this. I mean, I have to go in one moment from like just complete breakdown, and not even like, we don't really have scene changes. We don't have, scene breaks. So you go right from one extreme emotion, and in the next moment, you're inside something else. And that's been very interesting to play. So I guess what do I miss? I'll miss that kind of wild emotional life in this character. Also, of course, working every night, 8 times a week with Celia and Jim, because I've grown to really love them dearly and depend on them. It's that thing of, there's just the 3 of us. So it's not a big cast. We walk on stage and it's kind of like we just step off the ledge together and we're in it for the next hour and 45 minutes nonstop. And all of us have those big swings. And I I love working with them so much because there's never a moment that they're not there. And that means a great deal when you're on stage. Yeah.
Well, it's wonderful work, and I hope you enjoy and cherish the last few weeks here of taking those big
Thanks so
swings
much.
together.
Yeah.
For everyone watching, make sure you stick with us the rest of the season. And Jessica, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.